Good morning. Please stand for our pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance
Thank you, Christopher Texter, who is our head prefect next year, and Melissa Coolidge, our ambassador prefect for next year. I would like to invite Mrs. Lettengarver to the stage for our invocation.
Pine School families and friends, we gather on this special day recognizing our diversity in beliefs, values, and faith traditions, but honoring our unity and gratitude. In a world where many do not have the opportunities that we enjoy, we are thankful for the achievements and honors we celebrate today. In a world where many have a difficult future, we are thankful for the dreams, hopes, and plans that have been nourished within our community. In a world where many have no community, we are thankful for the support of our mentors, teachers, family, and friends. As we go on from this special day on different paths to different experiences and different destinies, may our gratitude unite us always in the desire of using all that we are and all that we have for the common good, so that reasons to be thankful will fill our lives each day. Honoring our unity and gratitude, I invite you to reflect on all that is yet to be, while expressing thanks for the gift of intellect, goals met, the support of family and friends, and a community that encourages and celebrates education. May our gratitude on this special day grow into peace for each other and freedom to live, work, and serve throughout all our days. Amen. And now I'd like to welcome Mrs. Debbie Texter to the podium.
Welcome, graduates, family, friends, faculty. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I'm very honored to be able to help celebrate these 44 amazing Pine School graduates. For 14 years, my family has been lucky enough to be a part of the Pine School community. I've had the opportunity to watch all of you grow into the incredible young men and women that you are today. And as I look out at all of you, I'm very proud. A school's success is measured by the success of its students. And frankly, I think we nailed it. You have grown into strong leaders. You've become mentors to the other 320 young knights. They have watched you work hard in the classroom. They have seen your dedication on the sports field. And they have witnessed your creativity and talents in the arts. You help represent the best of TPS. So today, as we send you out in the world, we are confident that you will represent us well with the dedication, hard work, and strong character that you have demonstrated here today. So please remember one thing. Once a knight, always a knight, and this is always your home. Congratulations, Pine School graduates. The Pine School and the Board of Trustees are so very proud of all of you. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to students, families, trustees, staff, friends of the Pine School. The day has finally arrived. Thank you for coming to join in the celebration of these 44 graduates and the 9th graduating class for the Pine School. The 9th to have 100% college acceptance, and the largest class, by one, to graduate from the Pine School. Congratulations to the class of 2017. It's an honor to be here this morning and to hand diplomas to these students, 8 of whom I have watched grow and learn since they were 3 years old. We had a beautiful baccalaureate service last evening to begin this momentous weekend, and I would like to thank once again Mrs. Carol Howard-Dietz, Mr. Sean Carlson, and Cole Davies for their presentations last evening. Everyone was very inspiring as well as entertaining. Let's give them one more round of applause. The class of 2017 has had many identifiable accomplishments and smaller individual triumphs and experiences that define not just a quality education, but your class. A class with individuals, students who, supported by each other and our caring teachers, have found a new confidence, have had the courage to step forward, and are ready to lead. In the past few weeks, many of you have stepped across this stage and received academic, athletic, or arts awards. Others have found private moments to reflect on the year and share promises with teachers or friends. And whether you're in the 66% headed out of state for college or staying close to home, you are ready. Indeed, however unconscious the change, each of you is different than you were in August. The lessons, both direct and subtle, that you have had this year change the way you see the world. And the more you learn, the better you understand how it all fits into the world of knowledge. The teaching and learning process never really stops, even though the lessons and the results are not always immediately recognizable or even immediately identifiable. Education and life just do not work that way. There's the story of the young man who graduated from college with a degree in journalism, and he got his first job at a small-town newspaper. One of his first assignments was to interview an old farmer who lived 20 miles outside of town. As he sat with the grizzled man on his front porch, the young journalist took out his iPad and started asking questions. One of the first he asks was, "Sir, what time do you go to work?" The old farmer chuckled and replied, "Son, I don't go to work. I'm surrounded by it." There's a lesson from the old farmer. Opportunities are a lot like work. They are everywhere. The problem is we often don't open our eyes to see them. As you approach each day, look around and be aware. If you don't see opportunities, remember that it's not because they aren't there. You're surrounded by them. You simply need to open your eyes and see them, and then act. With graduation in summer truly only moments away, embrace this moment and relish in the attention of the day on you and the achievements of the years. Last night, we heard some advice to look forward, but remember to look back and come back. Shakespeare's The Tempest has a phrase, "What's past is prologue." A large part of your past is here, and it has created the stage for your future. Use the Pine School as your stage for a magnificent future. Congratulations, graduates and parents. This morning, we're pleased to have two student speakers who were selected by their classmates, along with Cole Davies, who spoke last night, for this honor of addressing their classmates. Our first speaker today is Ryan Chemelis, and I would invite him to the stage. Take a deep breath. Ryan has been a student at the Pine School since 9th grade. He has spent his high school years under the watchful eye of the Dean of Student Life, his father, and also all of the other faculty and parents. Ryan values education, but he found his artistic gene and passion in 10th grade. Ryan embraces every new creative medium he's introduced to, and he continues to evolve as an artist, photographer, videographer, actor, and singer. This fall, Ryan was chosen as the High School Visual Artist of the Year, an incredible tribute to his work, by the annual Martys, sponsored by the Martin County Council for the Arts. Ryan has also received a first place in the high school juried art show and 3 golds at the Scholastic Art and Writing Contest. He also discovered a talent for acting and singing, and thus held the lead role in our school musical this year. Ryan demonstrates his school spirit by creating videos featuring major school events and helping teachers throughout campus when needed. His teachers describe him as creative and animated. Please welcome Ryan Chemelis.
Thank you, Miss Parker. Jeez. All right, before I say anything, I have to thank my family. Mom, thank you for teaching me how to cook so I didn't have to order Domino's every afternoon. Dad, thank you for working hard enough to put me into this school. It's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. Aaron, thanks for coming. So, as hard as it may be to believe, I am going to college. For those of you who haven't known me that long, I never really wanted to go to college. It was never really a big plan of mine. I had plans of what I thought I wanted to do and how I would get there, but all of that changed when my father spent $200 on a camera that was used off of Craigslist that wasn't even for me, but originally for my brother. So I have this camera, and I decided to take a class on how to use it. My brother was not in high school yet, so he wasn't able to take the class, and I figured I'll take advantage and teach him everything before he gets into high school. That was the day that my life changed forever. When I got into photography, it was the first time I was really passionate about something that I could really see myself doing for the rest of my life. It was the beginning of the first type of art that I've ever took interest in. At that moment, I decided I wanted to become a professional photographer. Now, since then, I paid for the camera 10 times over with gigs that I've received, as well as getting several awards and creating my own business that I plan on continuing for many years to come. At the age of 16, I became an entrepreneur and a business owner. It's obviously not the most successful business, but it's my business, and it's mine, so it's successful in my eyes. Then, all of that changed when I created a homecoming video to post on YouTube. It was something completely different that I've never done before, and not only did I fall in love with it, but everyone left and right of me loved the video that I made. At that moment, I decided I wanted to become a professional filmmaker. Now, since then, I've made 2 other videos, as well as a short film that I'm currently working on with Mr. Cole Davies and Mr. Jonathan Atz. That will be coming out very shortly, so keep an eye out. But then, all of that changed when the school musical Legally Blonde came around. Mr. Carlson, the director of the show, was the one in charge of casting, so I went to him and said, I would like to be in the school play this year, and can I have a small role? Jeez. Seeing how excited I was, I got the role of the UPS guy. I was ecstatic. I had a few lines that I was pretty nervous about, but I was just going to suck it up. Around 2 weeks later, I was in Mr. Carlson's room, and he asked me to sing something for him. He looked at my 16-year-old self in the eye, who was just breaking out of the shell that he's been stuck in for the past 10 years, and told him to put himself out on the line with a room of maybe 12 people in it. Keep in mind, I've never sung before a day in my life until that moment in his classroom. Days later, I found out that I've gotten the role of the male lead, and I'd be playing Emmett Forrest. I was terrified. But then I absolutely fell in love with it. Since then, I've been in 3 other shows, 1 here, as Ms. Parker said, and 2 at the Starstruck Theater in Stewart. And at this moment, my goal is to become a professional actor. Yes, there's a lot. The point that I'm trying to cross with you here is that you need to be open to opportunity and open to change. Because if you're not open to change, you may be missing out on something that will change your life for the better. And the fact is, you won't know if it will change your life for the better until you take time to experience it. You must attempt to take every opportunity that is handed to you. And if the opportunity is not handed to you, then you need to go out there and search for it. You can't hold mom and dad's hand anymore. You need to figure out how to succeed on your own, and you need to figure out how to fail on your own. You need to be the one to make your own connections, and I can't stress about how important it is to network. These 4 years, I've been networking with all of you because our class is an amazing group. We got a few D1 athletes, a major artist, a horseback rider, a race car driver, a hunter, couple geniuses, a dedicated musician, a rugby prodigy, a couple of disc golf enthusiasts, and I could go on, but frankly, I want to graduate within the hour. This school, it's just a school. The only thing that makes it special is us. The only thing that makes it special is the people who work here. That's what changes your life. The people who are here is what changes your life. I would be on a completely different path if I didn't say I wanted to take Miss Millie's photography class. I would be on a completely different path if Mr. Carlson didn't randomly ask me to sing something for him. But really think about that. If Mr. Carlson did not randomly ask me to sing something for him, I would have never gotten to play Emmett Forrest in the musical. I would have never discovered my passion for performing, never have gone to Starstruck to train, and would not be going to college for performing arts and hopefully becoming a big-time actor. I could be the next Robert Downey Jr., Johnny Depp, or Leonardo DiCaprio, all because some teacher asked me to sing something for him for kicks and giggles. Isn't that amazing? So trust me, when I say to take every opportunity that is given to you, because I am a prime example of why you should. I used to not be able to look a single person in the eye, let alone hold a conversation. Now I'm here, in front of my parents, my beautiful girlfriend, a couple hundred people, and my family of 44, just talking about life. But you all need to know something. Despite everything you have learned here, despite everything we have taught each other, I predict at least one of you is going to waste it all. I predict. It could be more, but at least one of you I know for a fact is going to throw it all away, and you're not going to be content with living life the way that would make you happy, and you may even hate yourself and regret every decision you have ever made from here on forth. So I'm going to leave you with 3 words. And I want you to engrave these 3 words in your mind for the rest of your life until the day you die. Prove me wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2017.
Thank you, Ryan. And Ryan will be attending the Savannah School of Art and Design in Savannah, Georgia. Our second student speaker today is Marin Washer. Marin, will you come to the stage? Marin has been a Pine School student since she was 3 years old. I could say the Pine School is responsible for everything she knows, and is, but we will willingly share who Marin is with her devoted and loving parents. She has grown up at the Pine School under the watchful eye of not only her dad all these years, but also all of the surrogate parents that comprise the faculty and parents. Marin is a motivated, dedicated, solid student who loves to read and write and takes an active role in arts and athletics. She's an integral part of the yearbook staff, literary magazine, drama productions, and is confident in what she will pursue in college, interior design, following in the footsteps of her successful mom. Marin, a quiet leader, was chosen to be the head girl prefect for this school year. She and the head boy prefect were responsible for the overall management of the entire prefect system. She was responsible for leading her class and managing and shaping student perceptions about rules and regulations that apply to daily life. Her reliability, maturity, and dedication to her school came together as head girl prefect, and resulted in excellent leadership skills and beyond reproach character. Marin has balance in her life. She is informed and prepared, and she avoids drama. She loves and enjoys her family, her art, and her team athletics. Please welcome Marin Washer, chosen by her peers to speak today.
Thank you, Ms. Parker, and good morning and welcome, family, friends, teachers, and graduates. To start off, I would just like to say how honored and thankful I am to have the opportunity to speak to you today. I don't think I realized what I was signing up for when I first got chosen to speak here, but trust me, in the last month, it's sunken in. For those of you who know me, I'm a pretty shy, awkward person around groups of people. So fair warning, I'm very nervous. I'm still slightly confused as to how I got chosen to speak here today, but I think a lot of it has to do with my classmates wanting to see me make a fool of myself and cry in front of hundreds of people. Before we get sad and nostalgic for our childhood, let's celebrate that we made it. We are finally wearing caps and gowns on our very own graduation day. We survived high school. We made it past all the early morning wake-ups, college applications, and what do you know Wednesdays. We are here on our graduation day with all the people we care about, and it can be all about us for at least a day before siblings and life start demanding everyone's attention again. I'd first like to thank this wonderful school that we go to and all the teachers, staff, and administrators that make it everything that it is. The gratitude my fellow graduates and I have for every single one of you is unmeasurable. The school has provided us with so many opportunities and has also prepared us to go out into the world with confidence and a strong voice. This confidence and knowledge will take us so many places. Thank you to the teachers who didn't just teach from a textbook, but shared with us their life lessons and experiences. You are truly the unsung heroes, and the class of 2017 is forever indebted to you. Thank you to the families and friends who have made my classmates who they are. I know teenagers can be annoying, stubborn, bratty, and a tad bit lazy, but know that we would not be here without the unwavering love and support you have given us. One word that seems to always appear when we think about the Pine School is family. Earlier this month, I sat and stared at my computer screen and tried to come up with a memory, any singular memory that completely epitomizes my time at this school. But I couldn't think of one big, moving, inspiring, eventful story. What I did find were flashes of images in my mind, like an old home video. My earliest memory was of nap time in kindergarten. We all would pull out our mats and tiny blankets, but no matter how hard Miss Ross tried, we weren't going to nap. All we wanted to do was whisper to each other and pretend that she couldn't hear us all giggling in the back of the classroom. How times have changed. Now we all would do anything for work period to be turned into nap time. My next memory brought me to first grade, when the school decided to change from St. Michael's to the Pine School. This was a bit controversial, if I can remember, and I was terrified. To my 7-year-old brain, changing the name of the school meant that all my favorite teachers were going to be fired, and they were bringing in a whole set of new ones. This was a bit traumatic for me, which I figure is why I remember this so clearly today. Thankfully, all the teachers remained. Then my mind took me to Miss Pittman's class in 2nd grade. This is where you see what the Pine School teachers are really like, and this is where my fear for watermelon seeds was founded. One day, we were peacefully eating watermelon in Miss Pittman's classroom when she decides to tell me that if I eat the black watermelon seeds, a watermelon tree will grow in my stomach. At first, I don't take her seriously and call her on her bluff until she tells me to go ask Miss Oliveri. I run to Miss Shalata's room next door and ask Miss Oliveri if Miss Pittman's joking. She looks at me with a straight face and tells me never to eat the black watermelon seeds. To this day, I take out every single seed. Thank you, Miss Pittman. Fast forward to 5th grade when we read the book Holes. Miss Ceballos created a contest where each student had to bring in spiced peaches, better known as sploosh. Whoever won the contest for the best peaches would get to bury a can of their peaches along with a copy of Holes on the Stewart campus to be dug up when we graduated. Our very own Luke Ricca won the contest, and we selected a place on the back field of the Stewart campus to bury our sploosh. Unfortunately, with the joining of the campuses, we had to dig it up 2 years earlier. We successfully located our unique time capsule, and it will forever be how I remember saying goodbye to that campus with the classmates who loved it and treasured it just as much as I did. Then there comes the dreaded silent lunches that used to be the absolute worst thing in the world. It would send children into tears because they would have to sit away from their friends for an hour during lunch. Now, if teachers gave this punishment, I'm sure some of us would welcome the silence in our extremely loud, hectic days. A favorite memory for a lot of us is Camp Greenville. This is where our class first truly bonded on an overnight field trip, and where we got the first taste of just how many ropes courses the Pine School was going to put us through for the next 4 years of high school. Most of us also experienced our first heartbreak together, sophomore year, when we got back our first AP World test. It was a room full of tears when we realized memorizing flashcards wasn't going to cut it for the rest of high school. An awful moment for all of us. Thank you, Mr. Carlson, for this shattering realization. This brings me to where it all closes out, our senior year. This year is filled with memories I'm going to treasure for the rest of my life. Our Grease hallway will forever make me smile when I think of how an hour before the call to stop work, it looked like the worst hallway the Pine School had seen yet. And somehow, when 9 o'clock hit, it turned into the ultimate recreation of Rydell High. Our senior no such thing night, where we all stayed overnight at the school and played games, was the perfect start to the most perfect year. This year, we finally got to skip the lunch line, which, if we're honest, was what everyone was most excited for as seniors. These memories will forever be etched in all of our minds. When you think about it, our experience at this school was made by these small lapses in time where we all were just irrationally happy because we were together and we were carefree in a school where everyone is your family. When I think of what I want for all my fellow graduates when we go out into the big, scary, dangerous world, I wish for exactly that. I want every one of us to be wildly, irrationally, undeniably happy. However, I believe this can only be achieved if we love ourselves, surround ourselves with people who make us better and happier every day, and fight for our future. I think a lot of people struggle with this in today's world. We let society's and social media's expectations of what we should be guide our path. Well, I say throw away the map. You control your future, you and you alone. Don't let others' views or opinions ever affect the dreams you have for yourself. Life is so incredibly short, and to live it by someone else's standards is such a discredit to the amazing people I know you all are. I've now sat in the halls of high school with all of you for 4 years. I have no doubt that we all have some big plans for our future. Whether it's buying a huge house and then adopting 20 dogs, or it's being the next Steven Spielberg or Steve Jobs, I have every confidence that this class of all classes is capable of happiness and success. In the years we have known each other, I can safely say we all have made a huge impact on each other's lives. We've yelled together, laughed together, and cried together. We've all made each other better, stronger people. Seek this in others for the rest of your life. Measure people by their hearts, not their wallets or how many likes they get. Find people who make you laugh when you feel like crying, and people who will be there for you when you can't be there for yourself. These will be the people you share life's happiest moments with. However, there is no one you're going to spend more time with than yourself. Fall in love with yourself and everything about you. I don't care if you have to fall in love with your freshman 15, own it. If you don't love yourself, happiness will be so hard to find. Life isn't fair and it kind of sucks sometimes, but no one else can pull you out of the funk life puts you in but you. I see such strength and resilience in all of our faces for whatever life throws at us. Never let it get you down or stop you from seeing the beauty inside yourself. Before the final words of this speech, Before the final words of this speech, I feel I would regret it if I didn't take this opportunity to say thank you to my mom and dad. You guys have, sorry. You guys have asked me before what I would do differently when I raised my own kids one day. When you first asked me, I really didn't have an answer. And over the years, the question has kept me thinking. What would I do different? I can honestly and wholeheartedly say absolutely nothing. I aspire to have passion like my dad does for his work. There will never be a man stronger or braver to me. I aspire to be as kind and wise as my mother and show as much love to others as she has shown to us. Thank you so much for being not only my parents, but my best friends and supporting me through every step of my journey here. Finally, my parting words to my class are this. The love I have for you guys is all-encompassing. Sorry. I am so beyond proud of every single one of us for fighting to get to this point. My heart breaks as I read this because I know it won't quite ever be the same, but the hope and excitement I have for every one of your futures surpasses any sadness I'm going to feel today. Each one of you has had such a massive impact on my life. I hope with all that I am that each of you finds what makes you happy and treasure it and foster that happiness the rest of your lives. You all better write me letters and send me pictures of your babies, or for some, your fur babies, because no matter how much time has passed since high school, I'm going to want to hear all about it. I'm here if any of you need me, and I love you all. Thank you.
Marin will be attending Queens College in Charlotte, North Carolina on a very nice merit scholarship. So congratulations, Marin. And now I'm going to introduce the person who will introduce our speaker. So if Samantha Els will come to the stage, please. Samantha is a young lady who exemplifies academic discipline and the balance of being an athlete with being an active participant in school activities. A Pine School Knight since 5th grade, Sam has excelled in the classroom and will be attending Stanford University in the fall. Please welcome Samantha to introduce our commencement speaker.
Thank you, everyone. It's not every day you get to meet a real live hero, and yet I have the pleasure of knowing one personally. Commander Master Chief Stephen Dutch Van Horn was born and raised in Ohio. He enlisted in the U.S. Army, the Navy, at the age of 18. He was initially stationed on board the USS John F. Kennedy. He was then transferred to SEAL Delivery Vehicle Team 2 at Little Creek, Virginia. In 1990, he began basic underwater demolition SEAL training in Coronado, California. He graduated with Class 186 and received orders to SEAL Team 2 in Little Creek, Virginia. While stationed at SEAL Team 2, he completed 4 6-month deployments to the European theater. In 1997, he then transferred to Naval Special Warfare Development Group at Dam Van Neck, Virginia. During his tour in Blue Squadron, he held the positions of Reconnaissance Team Leader as well as Assault Team Leader. In 2007, he was selected to lead the Selection of Training Cadre. From 2007 to 2009, he screened, selected, and trained over 200 candidates for DevGru's selection program. In 2009, he was selected to the position of Assault Troop Chief. While in this position, he deployed numerous times to Iraq, Afghanistan, and several contingency operations. In 2012, he was selected to become Gold Squadron's Command Master Chief. He held this position until 2015. Command Master Chief Van Horn's decorations include the Silver Star Medal, the Legion of Merit with Valor, the Bronze Star Medal with Extraordinary Heroism, 6 Bronze Star Medals with Valor, and numerous personal and unit awards. He is married to the lovely Jennifer of Virginia Beach and has a daughter, Olivia, and a son, Harper. My father was the first to meet Dutch. They met over lunch through a mutual friend while Dutch and his team were here in Florida for training. They quickly realized that not only do they have 2 daughters the same age, but they also have sons on the autism spectrum. Since then, Dutch's stories and simply his manner of living have inspired me, as I hope they will inspire you today. Without further ado, I present to you Mr. Steve Van Horn.
Very nice. Samantha, thank you. Miss Texter, Ryan, and Marin, it's going to be hard to fill your shoes and follow up after you guys, I think, but after I say what I had to say, it's going to tie in nicely to your guys' comments this morning. I retired back in December after 30 years in the military in a venue similar to this. Same kind of crowd. I have my speech in a folder. I put it under the podium. The guest speaker comes up, he speaks. It's my turn to speak. I come up to the podium, pull my folder out, open it, and my speech is gone. So my buddies decided to shred my speech. So I pulled a speech out of my back pocket from memory. So I woke up at Samantha's parents' house this morning at 5:30, drove to Admiral's Cove where I have a mutual friend, got on his computer, printed this up, and I've guarded it with my life this morning. So if it's bad, it's on me at this point. So good afternoon, thank you. I'd like to thank the Pine School, Mrs. Phyllis Parker, the class of 2017, and my friend Samantha Ellis for having me today. It's truly an honor. Having sat in your guys' seats nearly 30 years ago, I know the last thing you want to do is sit up here and listen to a talking head. So I will be concise, I'll be brief, but hopefully the message I send to you guys today is something you can take with you into the future. So I get asked all the time, how does a farm kid from Ohio end up in the SEAL teams for nearly 30 years? So that's an interesting story I'll share with you. Like I said, I grew up in Ohio. I knew very little about the military. I knew nothing about the SEAL teams. The town I grew up in was very small. The high school I went to was very small, similar to this. The town was so small, it's 1,000 people, no stoplights, one cop who was the town cop for 50 years. When he retired, his son became the next town cop, and he still is. The school I went to, like I said, was very small. I graduated with 32 kids in my senior class. 28 of them I went to kindergarten with. It was a type of school, I guess it's probably similar to this, where you would be a senior walking through the hallways with a kindergarten kid right next to you. It was truly a special place to grow up, and I miss it. So when I look back on my high school experience through the lens of a nearly 50-year-old man right now, I realize how truly special my hometown and my school was. During the fall of my senior year, I came to realize that one, I wasn't mature enough, and two, I didn't have the discipline to go to college. So I grew up in a big Catholic family, 6 brothers and sisters, all of whom graduated from college. So in the spring of 1986, I talked my mother into taking what is now called the gap year, only mine turned into 30 years. So the summer after my senior year, I graduate. The day after I graduate, I get on a plane and I fly to Montana, and I got a job in a small lodge in Glacier National Park. My job title was head office boy. I basically fed paper into Xerox machines and shredded and threw garbage away and stuff way above what I was capable of doing. So in the middle of the summer, my roommate was working at the golf course at the lodge. He was from Seattle. He was going to the University of Washington. He finds out his roommate dropped out of school, so he comes to me and goes, hey, I need a roommate. I already have an apartment set aside. Would you consider moving to Seattle with me? So here you got this kid from Ohio. The only place I've been outside of Ohio is Montana, literally. And I got this guy asking me to move to Seattle. So I call my mom. Of course, my mom, she's like, that's not what the deal was. That's not going to happen. But I finally work her, over the summer, I work it out, and she's like, okay, you can do it. But the following fall, you're going to go to college. So I moved to Seattle. I move in with this guy from Tacoma. I get a job at the Tacoma Square Mall working at the Foot Locker, wearing the referee outfit. I was so broke that I had to have my mother FedEx me her Sears credit card so I could go to Sears to buy 2 pair of black polyester pants to go with my Foot Locker outfit. So I did that for 4 or 5 months, got extremely homesick, told my buddy in Seattle, hey, I'm moving back to Ohio, getting my 1980 Honda CVCC hatchback station wagon and beeline it back to Ohio. I hit a deer in Kansas and limped into Ohio in the spring of 1987. So in 1987, kids in Ohio only had a few options post-high school. You could go to college, work on the family farm, maybe find a job in a factory, or you join the military. I guess I was lucky as my father convinced a family friend to give me a job in his factory, which assembled garbage trucks. My job was putting power takeoff units underneath the garbage trucks to run the, I don't know what they did. I mean, I put them together, but. So I jokingly say there are probably 1,000 faulty garbage trucks driving around the Midwest that I was in charge of. So one day, I remember it like it was yesterday. I decided I'm not going to go to work. I wasn't happy at work. I was struggling. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had this job in a factory in a small town, Ohio. I was not happy. So I decided I'm going to sleep in and not go to work. So my mother, who is not with us any longer, I miss her dearly every day, but she was a hard woman. She comes into my room about 10 to make my bed because that's what moms do with their 18-year-old sons is make their beds every day. And I'm laying in bed, and she kicks me out of bed, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, Mom, I don't want to go to work. I don't like it. I hate it. I hate my job. I don't know what I want to do. So my mother proceeds to tell me, you have two options, get a job or pay rent, and I wasn't smart enough to realize you had to have a job to pay rent. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I was an okay baseball player in high school. I got an offer from the Coast Guard Academy, which I turned down. I called the Coast Guard Academy baseball coach, said, hey, I'm thinking about joining the Coast Guard to come play baseball. What do you think? And he's like, not going to happen. We only give so many appointments a year. Basically, the only way you could do it is join the Coast Guard, apply to an officer program, go to officer candidate school, and maybe that way we could get you into the academy and you could play baseball. So I'm like, great. So the nearest Coast Guard recruiter was in Cincinnati, Ohio, 2 hours south of where I grew up. My mother takes a day off of work. We get in her car. We drive down to the Coast Guard the Coast Guard recruiter in Cincinnati. It's about a 2-hour process. About an hour into it, the Coast Guard recruiter goes back in the office to get some paperwork. And I look at my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I don't want to join the Coast Guard. And she's just, head blows up. I mean, she is so mad. My mother would get this look on her face where when she got that look, like, you better duck because something was coming your way. So, but we get in the car. She understood. We get in the car. We start driving back north. We get about 45 minutes from my hometown, and this is early 1987. That's the height of Top Gun. People don't realize Top Gun, the Navy put money into that movie as a recruiting tool. So Top Gun was huge in '87. I'm driving back up I-75 in Ohio, and we look off to my right, and there's a huge billboard with an F-14 Tomcat on an aircraft carrier with the sign that says, Navy, it's not just a job, it's an adventure. So my mom looks at me and goes, your Uncle Frank was in the Navy for 20 years and he loved it. And I'm like, I'm joining the Navy today. So my mom talks me into, we go to the Coast Guard or the Navy recruiter 5 minutes down the road. We go in. I talk to the Navy recruiter. He gives me his spiel. He goes, the first thing you have to do is take the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, the ASVAB test, where they show you a hammer and they say to you, nail nails or screw screws with it, and that's the kind of test you had to take to get in the Navy. I take the test. The recruiter comes out 10 minutes and goes, Mrs. Van Horn, your son scored higher than anyone we've ever seen. He's a genius. He can do whatever he wants. So me being the dummy, not realizing that they tell everyone that was a Monday. The following Sunday, I'm in San Diego in Navy boot camp. So I joined the Navy in 1987 for 2 years to get money for the GI Bill to go back to college to fulfill the promise I made my mother. I get out of boot camp. Initially, I had orders to the USS John F. Kennedy, which is an aircraft carrier stationed in Norfolk. When I arrived in Norfolk, the JFK was deployed to the Middle East. So I spent about 6 months, what's known as the Temporary Personnel Unit, or TPU. So this is basically the holding tank for people waiting for their ships to come in, or people getting out of the military, or people who got in trouble who are getting kicked out of the military. So you got all kinds of people in this unit. So you slept in a huge, big, open bay barracks with bunk beds, packed full of people. You'd get up in the morning, you'd eat breakfast, you'd get in line outside of the building, and a guy would come by with a clipboard, and he'd say, you 5 people get in this car, you 10 people get in that van, you 5 people get in that truck, and you do everything from painting, mowing lawns. I sold hot dogs for a week. I mean, I did all kinds of stuff. So one day I get in the van, and again, I'm 18 years old, almost 19, have no idea anything about Norfolk, Little Creek, anything. I get in a van, and we drive to this building. We get out of the building. There's this huge, big, strapping guy with a mustache and his big mustache. And he goes, hey, you guys are going to paint this entire building this week. So I'm like, great. It's what I joined the Navy to do, is paint a building. But I did what I had to do, so I go get my paint can. I start painting this building. So again, I have no idea where I am, what I'm doing. So I'm painting one morning, and this guy comes running around the corner, kicks my paint bucket, paint flies all over me, all over the ceiling, all over the walls, all over the floor. And he looks at me, he goes, sorry to be you, man, I gotta get out of here, and he runs away. And I'm like, great. So being, my mother raised me the way she did, I went and got a mop bucket, and I go to clean this mess up. So as I'm coming down the hallway, the guy that kicked my paint bucket's coming from the other end where he ran to with his own mop bucket. And he goes, hey, I would never make you clean this up. It was my fault. Let me give you a hand here. So we commenced to cleaning this paint mess up. And the guy and I start having a conversation. And literally, as much time as it takes me to tell you this story, this is how it happened. He goes, what's your deal? And I'm like, I've joined the Navy for 2 years to get money to go back to college. I'm from Ohio. I've got orders to an aircraft carrier. I'm going to work in the supply department. I don't know anything about the supply world in the Navy. That's just where they're going to put me. And that's my story. And he goes, so I have this unit he was starting. He goes, I have a unit that I'm forming up. I have a position for a supply guy. If I can make some phone calls, you seem like a good kid. Would you want to come work for me? And I'm like, as long as I don't have to paint, sell hot dogs, mow grass, I'll do whatever. So we walk down to the admin department, and he takes me in there, and he literally makes 2 phone calls, and he gets my order switched from the John F. Kennedy. I didn't know at the time that I was sitting in SEAL Delivery Vehicle Team 2, which is the SEAL team that drives the small submersible submarines. The guy that kicked my paint bucket over was a young lieutenant named Tim Szymanski, who is now a 2-star admiral in charge of all the SEAL teams in Coronado. And I went to work for him for 18 months. So we go do a 6-month deployment to the Middle East. We come back, I'm not even keeping track, I've got probably 6 months left on my enlistment in the Navy, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm working with the best guys. These guys were unbelievable. The command was unbelievable. I'd never met SEALs before. They were great guys. They treated me like one of them, worked out with them every day. I was loving it. So one day I come into work, and Tim hands me a folder and goes, I need you to sign this. So I'm thinking it's supply requisitions, and I open in the folder, and I'm like, what's this? And he goes, Van Horn, I'm sending you to SEAL training. And I go, okay, let's go. So literally, that is how I got into the SEAL teams. I knew nothing about them. I joined the Navy for 2 years to honor a deal with my mother. I guess I didn't honor it because I never went to college, but I think she'll forgive me. So that is how I got to where I am today. So that's my story. So when I listen, especially to Ryan this morning, I hear you talk about failure. I hear Mrs. Texter talk about leaders and mentors. That's what I've spent the bulk of the last 20 years dealing with. I've found over the years that you don't pick who you want to mentor. People choose you to be their mentor. And luckily, I had very good mentors growing up in the SEAL teams. And they got me through some really hard times, personally and at work. So my message to the class of 2017. So I'm not a quote guy, I never have been, but I recently was reading about Albert Einstein, and I read a quote from him that I think ties nicely in to the message from the previous speakers and to my message this morning. Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world, and all there will ever be to know and understand. So to me, one of the biggest things you need to accept with imagination is failure. I realize a Navy SEAL talking about failure may seem odd, as of most of what we do as SEALs are they're called no-fail missions, where we're expected to not fail every time we do it. This is true, but the work we do preparing for these missions is very hard and very intense, and we purposefully set the scenarios up for failure. Initially, it was hard for me to understand why we would do this because I would always think you would want to end something on a positive note, but I come to realize after 20 years, when you set up these hard, intense scenarios where in the end, the team usually ends up failing, you learn more from the failures than you do from success. So for 20 years, it was ingrained in my head to do things that way. You train and prepare for the hardest missions that the country asks you to do, and you prepare for failure in training. I fully believe this training principle is why we were so successful for as long as we were. So now this is where I try and take those principles and translate it into a message for you guys to take with you today. I'm asking you guys to be honest with yourselves, honest with your thoughts and your hearts. I'm asking you to go and do what your heart tells you to do. I don't care what your endeavor is. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is okay. If you fail doing something you love, at least you failed. And you can look at yourself in the mirror every morning and say, hey, I tried. So knowing that you tried and gave it your best takes a lot of the sting of the pain away of failing. Believe me, I know. Like Einstein said, use your imagination. As a not-so-smart farm kid from the middle of Ohio can attest, if you use your imagination and accept that you may fail, but sometimes you might not fail, anything on this planet you want to do, you guys are capable of doing it. Anything. As I look back on my 30-year career, I had a lot of success, but I learned way more about myself and my life from things that I wasn't 100% successful at. So now I ask you folks this, the class of 2017, are you ready to use your imagination as you go forward? Are you prepared to go against the status quo and do something different? I wish every one of you nothing but success and happiness for the rest of your lives. God bless the class of 2017, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you to our two student speakers, our speaker last night, Cole, Marin, and Ryan, Mrs. Howard Dietz last night, Mr. Sean Carlson, and Mr. Van Horn. Let's give them all a round of applause for this graduation. I'd like to invite Logan Messer to the stage and ask you to stand for our alma mater.
Shield of blue and gold.
Okay, graduates, we actually finally reached the part that, you're here for. Mr. Carlson, have these students met their graduation requirements and are ready to receive their diplomas, officially graduating from the Pine School?
Mrs. Parker, those seniors assembled here today have met the graduation requirements of the Pine School and are ready to receive their diplomas. I present the class of 2017 to you and Mrs. Texter.
Ladies and gentlemen assembled here today, we will now recognize these fine young men and women as graduates as they graduate from the Pine School. I would like Mrs. Texter, chair of the board, Mr. Steve Van Horn to join me downstage as we hand out diplomas. Senior advisors, Ms. Pacifico, Mrs. Lettengarver, if you will take your spots, please. It is a long-standing tradition at the Pine School that when we call a graduate's name, that anyone that is here associated with that graduate, we invite you to stand, please, because it takes us all for that family and for this graduate to be walking across the stage. We will begin.
Everybody in place. All right. Juliet Elise Afshar. Julie will be attending Elon University.
Julie would like to thank her mom, dad, and sisters, Natalie and Caitlin, for always being there for her and supporting her in everything that she does. She loves you all.
Jonathan William Atz. Jonathan will be attending Florida State University.
Jonathan would like to thank his parents for always supporting and loving him, the Pine School family, his brothers for watching over him, and Mr. Osborne and Mr. Nauman for being his friends as well as his teachers.
Emma Deegan Birkenblit. Emma will be attending the University of Florida.
Emma would like to thank her mom and dad for supporting her through these years, her best friends for always being there for her, and her teachers, especially Mr. Carlson, Mr. Squire, Mrs. McHugh, Mr. Nauman, and Miss Houseman for helping her grow.
Ryan Ariel Chimelis. Ryan will be attending Savannah College of Art and Design.
Ryan would like to thank his parents, his brother, his girlfriend, and every person from the class of 2017 for helping him get through high school.
Alexandra Kate Cleveland. Alex will be attending Florida State University.
Alex would like to thank her loving and supportive family who have helped her every step of the way and has helped encourage her to follow her dreams. Her outstanding teachers for pushing her to achieve her best, specifically Mr. Carlson, Miss Litterick, Miss Kelly, and Miss Jenkins. Alex would also like to thank her awesome class and her best friends, Olivia, Bella, Niam, Niev, and Sam. She could not have done this without you all.
Austin Cole Davies. Cole will be attending the University of Miami.
Cole would like to thank his mother for teaching him how to live life to the fullest and to wake up with a smile on his face every morning. His father for teaching him to love learning and to chase his dreams. his brother for making him laugh every day and pushing him to get outside his comfort zone. He would also like to thank Mr. Osborne, Mr. Nauman, and Mr. Squire for serving as mentors to him and not only being great teachers, but also great friends.
Madison Gray Davis. Maddie will be attending Mercer University.
Maddie would like to thank her parents for always giving her the opportunity to succeed and grow to be the best person she can be. They guided her and helped her find strength through God and her faith. She would also like to thank her teachers for challenging her and showing that her potential is greater than she ever anticipated.
Samantha Lee Els. Samantha will be attending Stanford University.
Samantha would like firstly to thank her little brother Ben for being an endless source of love and laughter. Thank you to her mama for teaching her through example how to be the strongest, baddest, most true version of herself every day. Thank you to her dad for teaching her to never stop believing in herself, to push through no matter the adversity that comes her way, and for big bear hugs when she needed them most. To Lizu, Yvette, and every person who helped raise her, God bless you and well done.
Chen Shao Stephen Fu. Stephen will be attending the University of Washington.
Stephen would like to thank every single person he has met so far because they made him who he is today. He would like to thank his parents especially, thank them for making all of this possible for him.
Isabella Marie Fusigna. Bella will be attending Washington and Lee University.
Bella would like to thank her amazing parents and her sister for being the best people ever, her coach Sergey for helping her become the person she is today, Coach Jenkins for always working extra hard to help her athletes succeed and for allowing her to fulfill her dreams of being a college athlete. She would also like to say a sincere thank you to all of her current and past teachers who have taught her so much and have always been there when she needed them. Thank you to Mrs. Ruiz for the endless giggles and for always being there for each and every one of us.
Brandon Marshall Golden. Brandon will be attending the University of Colorado at Boulder.
Brandon would like to thank his family, friends, and all of his teachers for helping him make it through high school.
Christopher Browning Hecht. Christopher will be attending Furman University.
Christopher would like to thank his mom, dad, girlfriend, family, and friends for helping him along the way, always being there when he needed them, and making him the person he is today.
Yu Hao Chris Hong. Chris will be attending the University of Washington.
Chris can't believe that his Pine School life is coming to an end. Every moment he spent here was beautiful and memorable. He wants to thank his parents for always supporting him. He would like to thank all of his teachers for being so kind and so friendly. He would like to thank Mr. Osborne for being his teacher, his coach, his guide, and his good friend. And finally, thank you, Pine School. You really made me feel like home.
Chase Patrick Highland. Chase will be attending Northeastern University.
Chase would like to thank his parents for always being by his side and always pushing him to be better. His grandparents, Yaya and Papa, for always showing an amazing amount of support, and his brothers for everything they do. He would also like to thank Mrs. Lettengarver and Miss Jenkins for always believing in him and for being the best coaches you could ask for.
Nicholas Isaiah Leonard. Nick will be attending Rollins College.
Nick would like to thank his family for supporting him and giving him that little push whenever he really needed it. He would also like to thank all the staff who helped him develop throughout high school. He would like to give special thanks to Mr. Huey, Mrs. Castle, and Miss Litterick for not only being teachers, but friends to him.
Yinan Grace Ma. Grace will be attending Michigan State University.
Grace would like to thank all of her teachers, especially Mr. Osborne. He was so kind and patient. He helped her a lot when she was confused or frustrated. She also would like to say thank you to her host mom, Carol, who taught her to be a life lover. She supported and encouraged her in special times. Grace is so excited to share this moment today with them.
Nicholas Arthur Manley. Nick will be attending Northeastern University.
Nick would like to thank his mom and dad for always being there for him, supporting him and pushing him to do his best. His brothers for helping him no matter what and showing him examples of what not to do. Nick's friends for always making him laugh and the many memories. His teachers who have guided him through every step of his Pine School journey, especially his advisor, Mr. Carlson, who has helped him with nearly everything and anything since 6th grade. And finally, Nick would like to thank everyone who has been a part of his life, encouraging him to be the best that he can possibly be.
Kayla Michelle Manoff. Kayla will be attending Bowling Green State University.
Kayla would like to thank her mom and dad and Lori Ann for being the best support system she could have, and her brother Brandon for being her best friend. Another big thank you to her second family, Adam and Katie, for pushing her to be the best version of herself, and Emery and Connor for making her smile every day. She would also like to thank Miss Kelly, Miss Jenkins, and Mrs. Ruiz for inspiring her every day to follow her heart. And last but not least, a huge thank you to my Pine School family for changing my life and letting me become the person I am today.
Sabrina Natalia Matos. Sabrina will be attending Purdue University.
Sabrina would like to thank all the teachers that have taught her throughout the years. She would like to thank Mrs. Rabb for pushing her in middle school to be the best that she could be. She would like to thank Chef Kelly for always putting up with Sam and her. She would like to thank her coach, friends, and family. Lastly, she would like to thank her parents for believing in her when no one else did.
Audie Theodore McCollum IV. Audie will be attending Florida State University.
Hadi would like to thank his parents and step-parents for always being people he could trust and always being there for him when he needed them the most.
Victoria Lita Melby. Victoria will be attending Florida State University.
Tori would like to thank her parents for always loving and supporting her, her sisters for being her ultimate best friends and confidants, her family for always putting a smile on her face, her closest friends for making every day memory-filled and unique, and her grade for being her second family and the best group of kids to spend her last 4 years here with. She would also like to thank Mr. Carlson for always believing in her, Mr. Nauman for his loving, sarcastic comments, Ms. Kelly for being her school mom and her emotional support system, and Mrs. Hausman for teaching her that not all math is terrible. And her final thank you goes to the Pine School for teaching her that she really does go to the best school and she will miss it every day.
Samantha Elise Meltzer. Samantha will be attending Hofstra University.
Samantha would like to thank her parents for always supporting her in school and in life. She would not have been so involved without them taking her to and from all of her activities. She would also like to thank Marin for being the best buddy and for giving her the best advice ever in 7th grade. Thank you to Chef Kelly, who put up with Sabrina and Samantha, and for being their therapist. Lastly, thank you to her friends and the entire senior class for being the best class ever.
Clark Robert Mortel. Clark will be attending Furman University.
Clark would like to thank his family, his classmates, and all of the teachers and coaches that have helped him through high school.
Hannah Marie Owenbrink. Hannah will be attending the University of Florida.
Hannah would like to thank her parents for always believing in her and supporting her in everything that she does. And a thank you to her family and friends who were always there for her along the way and helped make her into the person that she is today.
Philippa Pebble Peach Parnovic. Philippa will be attending the Fashion Institute of Technology.
Philippa would like to thank her parents for their endless love and support, her brother Phoenix for being her partner in crime, her sister Penny for being her ultimate best friend, and her sister Peg for being her biggest inspiration.
Dion Petrov. Dion will be attending Seton Hall University.
Dion would like to thank all his classmates for making high school great. He would like to thank all his coaches and teachers, Mrs. Kelly and Mr. Chimelis for always being there for him. He would like to thank his parents for always being there for him no matter what. He loves you. He will continue his pursuit to be a professional soccer player and make them proud, and last but not least, forever Frosty.
Grayson Vale Phillips. Grayson will be attending the University of Central Florida.
Grayson would like to thank his parents, friends, and teachers for their continued support. He would also like to thank everyone who encouraged his musical passions and who elaborated on his sometimes random, curious questions.
Mary Sullivan Powers. Mary will be attending Loyola University, Maryland.
Mary would like to thank all her coaches and teachers who helped guide her. She would like to especially thank her coaches, Mr. Sanchez and Mr. Farrow, for believing in her at a hard time in her life. Thank you, Mark and Michael, for always keeping her on her toes, and Matthew for not only being her brother, but her best friend. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for supporting her from the very beginning and being here on this special day. She would also like to thank her grandparents, Grandma and Opie, who unfortunately are no longer here, for the inspiration and wise words they provide.
Lucas Peter Ricca. Luke will be attending Southern Methodist University.
Luke would like to thank his parents for being crazy enough to have a fourth child, his siblings for making him look so good, and all of his teachers for putting up with his relentless sarcasm and horrible senioritis. He would also like to thank the entire class of 2017 for being the best class of all time. He truly loves you all. Pony up.
Annalise Barrett Romero. Annalise will be attending Philip Exeter Academy.
Annalise would like to thank her brothers for challenging her to be better, Miss Jenkins for always believing in her, and her parents for always being her #1 fans.
Kaylin Paige Rosario. Kaylin will be attending New York University.
Kaylin would like to thank the people who have been there for her in her life and whom she loves so much. No one could ever replace them, most importantly her mom, dad, her brother, and the rest of her family and friends. She would also like to thank her teachers for helping and guiding her through her high school journey. Thank you to all who have helped her and have shared a memory with her. And of course, thank you, Mrs. Dobes, for always understanding her absences and tardies and for being all around awesome.
Casey Lynn Shalato. Casey will be attending Florida Gulf Coast University.
Casey would like to thank Miss Jenkins and Mrs. Novoa for taking the time to get to know her, Aunt Leah for always being there, her second parents, Nana and Poppy, and her family for always loving and supporting and caring for her throughout all of our crazy adventures together.
Kaylee Samantha Sherman. Kaylee will be attending Palm Beach State College.
Kaylee would like to thank her family, teachers, and everyone else who has impacted her life.
Mark Maurice Smith. Mark will be attending Flagler College.
Mark would like to thank his family and friends that have made him who he is today.
Erin Louise Spellman. Erin will be attending Boston College.
Erin would like to thank her Pine School family for helping her grow in so many ways, especially her coaches who helped her push to achieve goals she never thought would be possible. She'd like to thank her friends for the laughs and memories, especially those who wear crazy lobster socks. Erin would like to thank her sister Sarah for enjoying her clothes as much as she does, and for being her best friend. And most importantly, Erin would like to thank her parents and grandparents for showing her the world and showing unconditional love and support for her over the past 18 years. Go Blue!
George Chris Spiro. George will be attending Palm Beach State College.
George would like to thank his family, his friends, his dog Sidewalks for keeping off the streets, the internet for all of his magic, his legs for supporting him, and his arms for being by his side.
Madeline Claire Ubel. Maddie will be attending Denison University.
Maddie would like to thank her parents for helping her achieve her goals, her friends for supporting her, her class for pushing her to be a better person, her family for loving her through all the rough times, and especially would like to thank her grandparents who constantly remind her that she can do anything and everything she puts her mind to. Thank you everyone who has believed in her these last 4 years. It means the world to her.
Allison Lee Walker. Allie will be attending the University of Miami.
Allie would like to thank her sister Haley, her dad, and especially her mom for always being classroom mom, team parent, and everything else she needed to support her through her Pine School years. Thank you, Mr. Carlson, Ms. Litterick, and all her teachers for constantly pushing her to be her best and expanding her love of learning. Thank you, Mrs. Lettengarver, for helping her grow into a more confident young woman with an undying pride in her school. And to the class of 2017, Thank you all for the greatest 15 years.
Marin Pomeroy Washer. Marin will be attending Queen's University of Charlotte.
Marin would like to thank her mom and dad for always loving and supporting her through everything she does. You both will forever be her role models. She would like to thank her sister Macy for being her best friend and driving her crazy. Thank you to her Nana and Grandy for all the love you've shown throughout her life. Finally, thank you to Mr. Carlson and Mrs. Pittman for not only teaching her about the world, but for being a shoulder to lean on whenever she needed it.
Kiri Aliska Westerland. Kiri will be attending Louisiana State University.
Kiri would like to thank her family for their endless love and support, her friends for the laughs, and those that became as close as family these past years for helping her throughout her journey so far. She could not have done it without you all.
Rebecca Victoria Wickel. Rebecca will be attending the University of San Diego.
Rebecca would like to thank her teachers for all of their help, her parents for always supporting her, and her friends for always being there for her.
Savannah Dale Wilshire. Savannah will be attending the University of Miami.
Savannah would like to thank her mom for being her best friend and being there for her for everything. Thank you to her dad for being her main motivator and teaching her how to be successful in everything. Thank you to her brother Stone for always taking her side and always making her laugh. Thank you to the rest of her family and friends for being true to her. Lastly, thank you to Mr. Nauman for helping her find a new passion for yearbook, and Mrs. Litterick for making her mornings brighter for the past 4 years.
Olivia Kate Wilson. Olivia will be attending Brown University.
Olivia would like to thank her family so much for all their support and the opportunities they have given her to succeed. Dad, she wants to let you know that even though it didn't seem like it at times, she appreciated all the time and effort you put in order to help her find and get into her dream school. Thank you to Mr. Squire for helping her with her Brown application when all of her procrastination finally caught up with her. Lastly, she would like to thank her friends for being the best support system she could ever ask for. She will miss you guys so much next year.
Ching Yuan Jennifer Yao. Jennifer will be attending Boston University.
Looking back to the 4 years she has spent at Pine, Jennifer wants to thank her parents for being her strongest supporters and her teachers and friends for always providing her endless courage to move forward. She will never forget all the love and warmth you've brought to her heart and never stop growing in the direction where these memories lead her.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome our graduates? Class, will you stand and face the audience? Seniors are now asked to move their tassels from right to left, signifying their official graduation. On behalf of the Alumni Association of the Pine School, you can turn around, class. You are officially members now, and they are hoping you will become active members and fully support the Pine School in spirit and love for the school. Please be seated. Our traditional rose ceremony is next, so parents and grandparents, find your tissues. I would like to invite the chorus at this time for a medley throughout that. As we welcome our graduates, they will honor their families with our traditional rose ceremony. Each senior will come forward and go to the audience to give it to a significant person in their life. We'll start from the stage right, and we practice this. So, John?
Who can say if your love
Before the recessional, I would like to thank everyone for coming. Thank you to Prestige Landscape for our beautiful flowers and the Hope Sound Company for the plans for our ceremonies. The recessional will begin with the platform party, followed by the faculty and then the graduates, who will be moving directly to the courtyard for their tossing of their mortar boards. I invite you to join the graduates outside for the traditional fling and return for pictures and goodbyes. Would you please bow your heads for the benediction? Dear God, I ask on behalf of those gathered here that you would indeed bless each one of them.
So, I'm better. Okay. Give them grace to make a difference for the good wherever they find themselves in the years ahead. Grant not only knowledge they will need it in their colleges and universities, but also wisdom to apply that knowledge to life as it really is. May each be a blessing to those whose lives they personally touch. And now, may you be pleased with what has been done here this morning. Thank you for your presence. Amen.